So which tables would like to share what your conversations were about, ideas that you came up with? Oh.
Thank you very much. My name is Awoinke Vabaza from Nelson Mandela University. In our table, one of the problems that we realized was the issue of mental health and disability in our campuses facing our students, obviously. Now, we then think about an innovative idea which can be a Disability Awareness Month in all of our campuses. Now, when I shared a story about my university, specifically Nelson Mandela University, was that in our university calendar, there is a Disability Awareness Month. However, we just see it on the calendar, but we don't see the practicalities of it on campus. And when the reason I had to, it's easy to realize that it's because there's also a month in our university where it's HIV and AIDS awareness. We call it First Things First. The difference between the two campaigns is that with the First Things First campaign, every students know that something is happening on campus. It's all red and white and it's beautiful because students respond. However, with the disability awareness one, nobody even knows about it. Nobody takes part of it. Now, having this disability awareness would also help our students into killing the stigma, because if we encountered many challenges where our students are not disclosing their disability statuses to a disability unit office, which then becomes a challenge at a later stage when they need assistance from that unit. A quick example would be of a student whom perhaps has a mental issue, which wants him to write in a particular exam venue different from other students. Now, if the disability unit is not aware of such students, the university, it's easy to take advantage of that student and the student could fail, and now they would face academic exclusions. Now, with that aggressive campaigns, which can also go, to our surprise, in our table, we even realized that actually there is a Disability Awareness Month in the national calendar around October, November. By the way, we didn't even know it. It raises a concern that it's something that is there, but there is no much campaign to it. Because the other examples could be how the barefoot campaign. We all know when there's the barefoot campaign where we see people not wearing shoes. Now, if campaigns like Disability Awareness Month can be also taken serious like that, our students could be able to disclose their mental issues so that they can get assistance that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One other table. Who'd like to share the ideas that you were talking about to address your challenges?
So this is not from South Africa to the States, the other way around. You guys, your summer schools and your winter schools between semesters seem to be working. We don't really have a particular focus in this country in the winter or summer semester. Our biggest problem as a nation in terms of higher education is targeting that throughput rate, which is what you call the graduation rate. How many students are completing in minimum time? It's possible for me as a registered student to become somebody who will not complete in minimum time, and you'll know that at the end of my first semester. Why? Because I failed one course out of 5. Just 1 out of 5, and automatically I'm going to complete in minimum time plus 1. If that one course happens to be a course that lots of other students are also failing 1 out of 5, an intervention that can contribute not to the success rate of that one course only, but in pushing the total cohort into the next semester and increasing the rate, would be an intervention after the assessment, like a summer school or winter school, just for that subject. And then an opportunity is provided all those who just failed 1 subject out of 5, as an example, and an opportunity is provided to them to rectify that. Suddenly the number of people moving across the semester with all subjects passed and therefore contributing to the minimum time completion rate is increased. Well, while mooting this, some concerns about the processes were expressed at a university where this is actually practiced. And because I may capture it incorrectly, can I ask you to quantify it, please?
Right, so one of the things at our university, at Nelson Mandela University, is that it's purely up to departmental discretion. It's not necessarily something that happens in all modules. Each department decides for themselves whether they want to do summer and winter schools. One of the problems that we are experiencing is that it's not always the same course lecturer lecturing the summer and the winter school, and so the assessment practices are not always 100% the same for the summer and the winter school, and the lecturer lecturing is not always the same. So even though it is working very well and it gives the students the opportunity, there is also sometimes a bit of unhappiness from students that they feel that the students who go to the summer and the winter school maybe got off a bit easier, so to speak. So I think it's just a matter of how it is planned, how it is executed, that can make a difference as well.
Oh, and one more over here.
Thank you, colleagues. In our topic, which we focused on, is titled Transition from and Support for the First Year Students. We said our challenge number one that we focused on is we need deliberate efforts on managing the expectations of the students and also the expectations of the institutions of higher learning. Our students, the majority of them have no idea about what the university is. They expect a lot. So we are saying we need to have a platform where before they are let loose, we need to formally do initiatives like formation of the learning communities or the academy, and also efforts like capacitating staff on how to handle this transitional phase. We were talking of issues like, in terms of capacity development, issues like first year academy for staff, so that we ensure that we professionalize the way we handle our issues. We also thought that the majority of our lecturers are not trained to teach. Yes, they are experts in their fields, but teaching is a science. Teaching is an art. It seems like now we are at a point where we need to ensure that efforts are in place to professionalize teaching in the universities, so that we are sure when we sit in whatever office that students are getting real value for money. And then we spoke of initiatives that could be done across, which have already begun in certain places. Like I know of some institutions who have come together to offer postgraduate diplomas, where they are encouraging their lecturers to participate in such capacity development. But because of how toxic our environment is, it seems like our people do not want to take these initiatives unless we convince them that there is something for them in it. Like to say, if we include that requirement in promotional criteria, we might begin to get some uptake of those things. To say, if you want to go for senior lecturer, to be an associate professor, we need also to ensure that do you have a teaching qualification? Thank you very much.
I think we're crowding into lunch. So thanks for this has been a great conversation. I've learned a lot. I hope all of you have some good ideas that I'm going to take back, and again, I hope you can take back as well. Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Kim. First of all, let's give them both a warm round of applause. I think it's been a really interesting kind of start to the next session and the session after that, and want to really take say thank you. It's a long trip, and hope that you have a really good flight back. And more importantly, I mean, we hope that we'll be able to keep this engagement going, and hopefully.
I just thought of something missing from the slide. My email address is kwilcox, just my first initial Wilcox, all one word, at ucr.edu. kwilcox, ucr.edu.
K Baeren, K-B-A-E-R-E-N, at ucr.edu.
And I'd like to thank all of you for participating in this sort of unusual session. It's just fun. And I hope too that the rest of the session goes really well. Just for those of you who didn't hear, at the end of last week, we lost Professor Ero Tiobeka, who passed away from cancer. I mean, those of you who didn't know, I just thought I'll mention that today. You know, he was really good scientist, but also a fantastic servant of higher education, and we will miss him terribly. So I just thought I'll mention that as well. Yeah.